Welcome to Crypto News and Investigative Reports. I'm glad that you're joining us today. I am not a financial advisor, so please do your own due diligence when investing in cryptocurrencies. Once again, I'm glad you're joining us today. I'll start with this opening statement. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that's trying to keep this cryptocurrency news public, taking an opportunity to let everybody know what's going on regarding the digital asset revolution. All right, but I'll start with this it's about Ripple XRP. Ripple is not getting the media coverage that it actually deserves. I don't think that it's getting, for everything that Ripple is doing and what contributions that Ripple is making to the banking system, I don't think that it's getting the coverage that it actually deserves. Currently Ripple is disrupting the global financial markets by storm. Ripple is actually blowing away the global banking market. The media at this point, and I'm not sure whether it's by design or whether it's whether it's intentional or whether it's unintentional, but Ripple is not getting the reporting that it should be getting, like on CNBC and Bloomberg and a couple other these money reporting agencies, or those news media that always report on finances. All right, so what Ripple is doing in the world is it is transforming the banking industry all around the world. It is this great story is being overlooked, and when most of those like CNBC and Bloomberg and all of those other news organizations, when they talk about cryptocurrency, they usually talk about like Bitcoin. They talk about Ethereum, they talk about Litecoin, and they hardly ever mention Ripple XRP, and what Ripple is actually doing for the world. So I think that's really unfortunate. I really would like to see some of these other news organizations really take some time and really, keep us up to breast on a lot of things that's happening. Like for instance, like we have here, one of the top stories is Swell. Swell starts tomorrow in San Francisco. Swell is going to be a large, it's a big story. All of the people that are going to be at Swell and all of the things that are happening, I really would like to see the media cover it a little better and for it to be more into the national news. And it's actually not in the national news story. I've been watching and I haven't seen anything. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Swell starts tomorrow in San Francisco. There's a couple of links. If you've been following cryptocurrency, especially Ripple XRP, you're probably already on top of that story. The other story is we are Crypto News and Investigative Reports. We're going to be at the Moscone Center, downtown San Francisco. It is Cryptocurrency Week in San Francisco. It's Blockchain Week, I'm sorry. That starts in San Francisco on October 5th. And so it's kind of a cryptocurrency week in San Francisco. You got Swell, you got the Swell, which is the first and second. Sorry, Swell is the first and second in San Francisco, and then Crypto News and Investigative Reports. We're going to be on the streets. Crypto News and Investigative Reports. We're going to be on the streets having a cryptocurrency street conversation. What does cryptocurrency? What do you think about cryptocurrency? We're going to be doing that in San Francisco that whole week. We're going to be talking to people. We're going to be down at the Moscone Center. So those of you that are in San Francisco, if you're going to Swell, please come by and see us, sit down, talk to us. We're going to be right at the Moscone Center, right in the Moscone Center there. There's Starbucks there. There's a lot of places to eat. There's like a little park and everything. So we're going to be right in the middle of the Moscone Center. Moscone Center is in the heart of San Francisco. And so we're going to be down there. We're going to be talking to people, and we're going to try to record it as well. And hopefully some of what we get we'll be able to put on our crypto news program. All right. Another story we're following is a Ripple hired lobbying firm. The Ripple hired lobbying firm will get paid partially in cryptocurrency. That's hilarious to me. I think it's really smart of the people that are going from this lobbying firm to tell Ripple, you don't have to pay us in money. We don't have to take that 25,000. We'll take 10,000 XRP. That's pretty smart. The Washington D.C. based Klein Johnson Group has been contracted by the San Francisco-based Ripple and several other firms in the cryptocurrency sector and will be paid for its services in the US dollar and XRP. According to Bloomberg, the lobbying firm will reportedly receive a monthly fee of approximately $25,000 a month in fiat and an additional $10,000. I don't know if it's $10,000 a month, but it's $10,000 worth of Ripple XRP. So I thought that was pretty smart of that lobbying firm, Klein and Johnson, to say, no, we'll only take $25,000. We don't really want the fiat money. We would rather take 10,000 XRP. Now, that right there lets you know that XRP is really going to hit the roof. If this lobbying firm, Klein and Johnson, who's been around for a long time, if they're telling Ripple that you don't have to give us $100,000, you don't have to pay us $100,000, you don't have to pay us all that money that you pay everybody else. We'll only take $25,000, but we'll take the rest of the money in XRP. Do you know? And it's only it looks like it's 10,000. So if it's $10,000 XRP, if you got 10,000 worth of 10,000 token position in XRP, you're going to be fine. You're really going to be fine. So that was pretty encouraging. That's one of the stories. Here's the link right here. And then we're talking about another issue. That says the Security and Exchange Commission received a letter from the U.S. Congress members requesting clearer regulations. It says, according to CNBC, the SEC Chairman Jay Clayton received a letter from the source members of the House of Representatives requesting feedback on the authorities' plans for regulating the crypto industry. The letter, which is signed by over a dozen politicians, it stated, this is what it said: it is important that all policymakers work towards developing clearer guidelines between those digital tokens that are securities and those that are not securities. So they want them to better articulate this in the SEC policy and ultimately through formal guidance or legislation. So a very large part of the movement of the digital asset, a very large part of that is the policies and the regulations. There's one thing that's happening in digital asset is that it's the software, SaaS, software as a service. So like for instance, Ripple, XRP, they have a great software, right? They have the xCurrent, xRapid, xVisa, and everything else, Interledger Protocol, all those software things that they do. But there's also a problem regarding policy, right? Ripple is an international company. And so they need actually some kind of international credibility politically, and they don't have it. Ripple does not have real solid, at this point, because they're so new, they don't have really solid international geopolitical power. And that's part of what the IMF is going to be at Swell this year. Bill Clinton is political. He's the former president of the United States. They have a couple of other banking officials. They got a lot going on regarding political power. And so then they're going to need it as an international company. You can't be an international company and have no political power. SWIFT has all the international political power. SWIFT has that power. And that's what, and then the power that SWIFT has internationally is the power that Ripple needs to continue to go. I mean, so that's an interesting story right there. All right, and let's continue the news here. Here's the link right there. Another story we're following here: a series of recent cyber attacks targeting banks raises questions about the security of SWIFT. All right. The global messaging network that is the backbone of payment services for more than 11,000 institutions worldwide, including banks and corporations. This is actually a video. Here's a link to it right here. Here's a link to the story. It's an illustration that you probably want to see. You probably want to go and watch that. Let me elaborate on that. I'll get back to that. Let me move a little further into the news. There's a Fortune magazine article. Kathryn Haun. She's a very interesting woman. She's been all over the news regarding cryptocurrency. She works with Anderson Horowitz. She's a partner for their cryptocurrency investing, from crime fighter to crypto. Meet the woman in charge of venue capitalists of the virtue capital biggest gamble. Kathryn Haun was the Justice Department go-to prosecutor for Bitcoin-related felonies. Now she's one of the cryptocurrency's most important investors. And here's a picture of her right here. She's sitting right here. Kathryn is sitting here along with Bridget from Stellar. And we all know who that is. That's Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple, and the narrator, the moderator. But she's right here. And she's some person. She's a person that you want to follow. The reason why I'm talking about her is because of the statement that she made, which is right here. She says cryptocurrency is in the dial-up days. She says Kathryn, and the critics are confusing the current state of innovation with the end state of innovation. So that's a profound statement right there that she has made. She is saying that stop looking at cryptocurrency like it's at the end stage, and stop making all of these projections and decisions on cryptocurrency like it's at the end stage. And when she says it's in the dial-up stage, she's kind of attributing that analogy to like when AOL started, right? You remember when AOL started? It was a it had that annoying dial-up tone. It had that annoying dial-up tone to it. And then you'd have to wait for that loud noise and all of those different other sounds before it connected to the internet. And that's the analogy that she's making. She's saying cryptocurrency is in that dial-up stage. It's at the beginning stage. It's infancy. It's incubating, and it's going to be coming out. And so she's saying, look at cryptocurrency like 10 years from now. And could you imagine talking about xRapid 10 years from now, xVia 10 years from now? And all the other suite of things that Ripple has, talking about them in 10 years from now. So that's her point. I thought that was a profound statement. She says to her, virtual currencies and other technologies that underpin them are society's saviors. A last great hope for reclaiming power grabbing up by greedy banks and internet monopolists. And so she was talking about how, let me see, do I have any more of that article on here? No. She was talking about how they, like Facebook and Twitter and some of these other powerful internet monopolists are really taking over and grabbing all of the power from us. And she talks about how cryptocurrencies and digital assets, quote, can give us back that power that that you're losing, basically, is what she's saying. A great article. You definitely want to follow her. She's a partner with Anderson Horowitz, which is a big venture capitalist company, and they got a lot of money. And then we're going to be doing a special report. We're going to be doing a special report on the coming financial crisis. There's two stories running parallel. There's the cryptocurrency revolution going, and then there is the predicted coming financial crisis. And the coming financial crisis is predicted by a couple of the former U.S. Treasury U.S. Treasury heads, and a former Federal Reserve Chairman, Ben Bernanke. So there's a couple, Geithner and Paulson, or a couple other people. And then there's a lot of other people around Wall Street that are talking about a projected coming financial crisis. They talked about that it was a bubble. We printed a lot of money, just kept printing fiat currency to get our way out of it. And, one day the chickens are going to come home to roost. And so that's part. So we're going to be doing a special report on the coming financial crisis. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. One of the articles is 10 years of a financial crisis, which was 10 years ago, 2008. What now? There's a link to that. That's going to be one of the articles we're going to be talking about. And then here's another story that I really think that is in the news that's really important, that cryptocurrency people really need to get a hold of and start following. And this is in recent years. Let's see here. here we go. In recent years, has the United States used SWIFT as a weapon of economic destruction? And what's important about this particular article is it talks about the position of using a reserve global currency. Because there's a lot of conversation out there on YouTube and a lot of other social medias about the reserve currency, the United States having the reserve currency, and whether we're going to lose the status of United States having a reserve currency. There's a lot of rumors out there about that. And one of the things I want to add to that is that before the United States had the reserve currency, guess who had the reserve currency? It was England. England had the reserve currency because they had the more military might, right? They had a powerful navy. And because the British pound, that's how the British pound was a reserve currency. And so after the British pound became reserve currency, the English came over. There was a war there, and the United States upheld them. And now the United States comes into this great military power and this great military might after World War I, World War II. And so now the United States dollar is a reserve currency, and we still have our military might, but with the digital assets coming into play, and now all of these other different things are coming into play. Now a decision has to be made about the reserve currency. So let's read a little bit. It says, with the United States dollar as the world reserve currency, SWIFT's original mission was solely for cross-border and international payments between countries using the world reserve currency, the US dollar. Now, and it says this, it was never supposed to be politically involved between countries. It was built for the sole purpose of doing math problems between countries' banking accounts. Unfortunately, SWIFT has been co-opted by the US as a weapon of economic destruction. And there was a few more articles that I want to probably bring into this is about China and about Russia. Those two countries are having problems whether they want to continue to use the United States dollar as a reserve currency. And to add to that, when it breaks all the way down to Ripple, that this is one of the things that Ripple as an international company is going to have to rectify. They're going to have to get some kind of political power so they can have some kind of political trust. SWIFT, since 1973, has built up political power and also built up political trust. That's why they got 11,000 banks. But anyway, this is a great story. We're going to be digging down, drilling down into that particular story more and more. Let's move forward here. Interview former Morgan Stanley executive Kathryn Haun on how Wall Street wants to ruin Bitcoin, Part 1. This was a very interesting article that came out this week. And she's going to be, it's a video that you definitely want to go on YouTube and take a look at. No, this is part 1 of a multi-series exploring the dangers of, and this word is pronounced rehypothecation. The rehypothecation, and I had to look that up because I did not know what that meant. Rehypothecation. And okay, so let's start reading again. This is part 1 of a multi-part series exploring the dangers of rehypothecation and commingling in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies assets that could occur once Wall Street begins offering crypto products. Part 1 is an interview with Kathryn Haun, and subsequent parts will ask the question, how did we get to a place that where laws look like this? Like I said, rehypothecation is a practice by banks and brokers of using for their own purpose assets that have been posted and collected by their clients. Clients who permit rehypothecation of their collateral may be compensated either through a lower cost or borrowing on a rebate or fees. That's very interesting. I mean, some of that's kind of really deep. That rehypothecation, I really didn't know anything about that as I continued to watch her story and watch what she had to say. But, it's almost like, if you take your car over somewhere and you get a loan on your car, and so now they have the title on your car, and then what they do is they do this, because they feel like they're the owner of your car, they use your car for collateral for what they want to do. So it's like using it twice or something like that. And that can cause a lot of problems. But also with cryptocurrencies, you can't just continue to print cryptocurrencies and make them up, right? So that's a very good story. You want to listen to her interview. There's a link right there to the YouTube video, and it's very important. Please take some time to watch it. I'm waiting for part 2. I want to watch part 2. All right. When the next financial crisis coming? When's the next financial crisis coming? And how do you prepare? That's another story that we're following, because I've said that before. That's following the straight along with the cryptocurrency revolution. That next financial crisis is coming, and how do you prepare for it? What we want to find out, and what we're trying to do in that report, is we want to try to find out, do you hedge? Is gold the hedge? Is cryptocurrency the hedge? How do you hedge against that coming financial crisis? And that's part of what we want to do. There's the links and everything. When's the next time the financial crisis is coming? All right. With that being said, let me go into some of the articles. This is some central bank news. Anybody that watches me knows I follow the central bank. At this point, I haven't had any news that any central bank is using xRapid, xCurrent. No central bank at this point that I know is using any of the Ripple suite for the central banks. Commercial banks are, and payment providers are, but no central banks are using Ripple. Mongolia's central bank approves the first digital currency. Mongolia's central bank gives permission to issue its first digital currency. Extremely difficult conditions. India's Zebe shutters crypto exchange over central bank ban. Zebe, India's first blockchain, shuts down due to central bank pressure. The Ukraine central bank still working on blockchain-based currency. Africa launches Kenya's latest exchange offering P2P and centralized trading. Kenya, the news goes on. Russia's central banks to facilitate blockchain transactions. Is European Central Bank crypto ready? I've been going through those stories, and all of them are, half of these stories are, okay, now these central banks are going to accept a cryptocurrency and digital asset and blockchain. And then the week before, these same central banks are saying, no, they're not. They're not going to take blockchain. And then they got a ban on it over the whole country. And so it's the central banks have to make a decision on what in the world they're going to do. The central banks are where money is printed up. At this point, guys, I don't know what to tell you about what central banks are going to do. I'm confused, and I think everybody else is confused about what central banks are going to do about digital assets at this point. We don't know if they're going to make their own. We don't know if they're going to get on board with something that's already out there. We have no idea. So none of the central banks are using Ripple that I'm aware of. And I could be wrong. Somebody out there might have better news on that. And then I know the IMF is not using it, and the World Bank is not using it. So, but anyway, that's the news, guys. That's what's going on. I did not get a couple of other articles that I wanted to get for you today. This is what I want to say. Please follow us on Twitter. The articles that I try to go over in this news broadcast, I at least try to tweak those articles. If you want the links, look at the stories, please go to Crypto News and Investigative Reports. I'm on Twitter. Our handle is Crypto News and Investigative Reports at RobTech. ROBTECH, RobTech P. If you want more news, you can go right to you can go to Crypto News and Investigative Report Twitter page. Here's some of the other stories that I didn't get a chance to bring in this broadcast because I'm trying to be time sensitive on this broadcast. This is Michael Arrington. Those of you that are following cryptocurrency knows Michael Arrington. He's kind of frustrated with the U.S. regulations and the Security and Exchange Commission. So he's saying he's going overseas now. He's going to take off and go to Asia. And then there's more news. Ripple hired, I kind of went over that. Ripple hired a lobbying firm to get paid. And that lobbying firm, I thought that was really interesting. The lobbying firm says, look, we don't want U.S. dollars. We want XRP. Give us 10,000 XRP. Hey, what do you want? 100,000? You want $25,000 and 10,000 XRP, or do you want $100,000? This company says you can keep the 100,000. Just give us 25,000 right now. We'll take 10,000 XRP. That was an awesome story. So you want to go that's on our Twitter page. XRP ready for another rise. Ripple, and I'm gonna close with this. The other thing is that with the Swell conference coming and everybody that's going to be there and everything that's going on. They say that that's going to give the price of Ripple a boost. And did I go over that? Let me go over that before I go too. Currently, right now, Ripple, we have Bitcoin. It's at $114 billion market cap. Its 24-hour is a 0.30% in the last 24 hours. Actually, it just jumped up to 32% while we're talking. Ethereum is at $23 billion now. Ripple has been, kind of bumping Ethereum out of the way, right? Ripple is taking the second place and then comes back down and then taking the second place. So I do expect to see Ripple to take the second place during the Swell conference again. So Ethereum is at $23 billion market cap. It's at 0.43% in the last 24 hours of movement. XRP is at a $23 billion market cap. It looks like it's like $3 million under Ethereum right now. And it's at 1.86% in the last 24 hours, folks. XRP is actually moving really, really well in its volume. All right. So, yeah. So that's the news. Please follow us on Twitter at Crypto News and Investigative Reports at RobTech, ROBTECH, RobTech P. And you can also please subscribe to our channel, to our YouTube channel. Just hit that subscription key there, and please hit that little bell too. That lets you know when we're putting up another video. As well as, please leave your comments. I try to reply to everybody who leaves comments on our page, whether they're good or whether they're bad. We get good comments and we get bad comments. So you're entitled to your own opinion. So please leave us some comments, and we'll continue to try to give you the news. Finally, that if you're going to be in San Francisco, we're going to be doing our street conversation in San Francisco. What does cryptocurrency, what do you think about cryptocurrency? What do you think about digital assets? Right here. Our street conversation is, what do you think about cryptocurrency? That's going to be in San Francisco. We're going to be there the 1st and 2nd. We're going to be down at the Moscone Center, downtown San Francisco. So please join us. Plus, there's a Starbucks out there. There's an ice cream place out there. There's a park area right there. So come down to the inner heart, to the heart of San Francisco, to the Moscone Center area down there, and we can talk about cryptocurrency. All right? Until the next time, wherever you are, have a good day if it's daytime, or wherever you are, if it's nighttime, have a good night. Thank you for joining us.